Day.
Welcome back to NBA Today. The Suns, they won Game 5 to take a 3-2 series lead. What are we going to do with them? The game was over, though, when they led after 3. Phoenix improved to 50-0 when taking a lead into the fourth. And Mikal Bridges, he dominated at both ends, making 12 of 17 shots to record his second career 30-point game, including the regular season, while defensively limiting the Pelicans to 3 of 17, including 2 for 14 for C.J. McCollum and Ingram. And Chris Paul, he went for at least 20 points and 10 assists for the 31st time in his playoff career. Although, shout out Jose Alvarado for holding it down because that was impressive. That breaks a tie with former Suns Kevin Johnson, the third most games in NBA history behind only Magic and LeBron. So with all that being said, Richard Jefferson, starting with you, fill in the blank. The Suns' X factor that will help them close out Game 6 is?
The Cams. It's got to be the Cams, in my opinion. It's got to be Cam Payne. It's got to be Cam Johnson. And this is why. You know what DeAndre Ayton, he's kind of somewhat consistent when you look at it. He's going to get you anywhere between 15 and 20-something points and close to 10 rebounds. But Cam Johnson has made such huge strides. Cam Payne, you've been there before. You have led this team before. No Devin Booker. So instead of saying, like, oh, we need to replace Devin Booker and all these points, it's like, no, you just need other guys who step up and be more consistent. If those two play at a high level, and you know what Chris Paul does, especially getting in the crunch time, you know what DeAndre Ayton does in the depth, I think that'll be the thing that helps them close.
Well, it's no X factor because it's the Pelicans winning in 7. Okay, the Pelicans is going to win Game 6. Look, you have to look at the game.
I don't have to look at nothing.
Yes, you do. Go back and look at the game last night. Chris Paul was exhausted at halftime. Okay, it wearing down on him. I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain the level of play that the Suns need him to play at. And so when I look at last night, Mikal Bridges had an out-of-body experience, man. Like, look, he's a good player, but he had a great game. Like,
great game.
Yeah. I don't expect him to do that again.
Why do you think I said Cam Payne and Cam Johnson? I wouldn't say Mikal Bridges got to do that
but
again.
I'm not putting my faith in the Cams. I'm saying there's no X factor. I'm going with those good people out of New Orleans, baby. That's who I'm rolling with. Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum winning Game 6, forcing the Game 7, and then the Pelicans closing it out in Game 7.
All the things that have gone wrong for the Phoenix Suns, right? You know, it just to start this postseason, losing Devin Booker, all the things, just kind of struggling a little bit. I still feel like they are in control of this series. They've always been in control of this series.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have.
How?
They have been in control of this series because I believe a team that has been there and done that, those are the ones that I am going to bet.
Listen, there's no way you could tell me that they've been in control of this series when Brandon Ingram is averaging 30 points and shooting 50% from the field and 50% from the three. That don't sound like control to me.
3-2 sounds like control when your best player is out. If you're up 3-2 and your best player is out, and
look, when two men disagree, the next word is bet.
Say less. What's the bet?
We'll talk about it.
Don't ever grab my hand like you mean it.
I don't want to grab your hand at all.
Wait, do you have a wet fish handshake?
Oh, he does. He does. He was like, let's make a bet. Let's make a bet.
Hey, you know what? Hey, shout out to my boy Kevin Johnson, who owns Fixes right up the way, best soul food in L.A. that I be going to every day.
You maybe cut it back maybe like 3 times, 4 times a week.
No, that's why he's rolling with the Pelicans. He wants that beignet smoke. I see where he's rocking with now.
Okay, but no, bro. I'm sorry. Suns in 6.
All right, gentlemen, if it's all right with you, let's stick in the West here. Will Steph Curry start tonight? That's the big question heading into tonight's Game 5. The All-Star, he's come off the bench for the Warriors in every one of the first 4 games, with Steve Kerr steadily increasing his minutes every game. He played 37 minutes in Game 4, and he's led Golden State in scoring each of these last 3 games, even though he came off the bench. The Warriors, they have a chance to close this series out in a matter of hours. And as it pertains to Steph and his questions, Kendra Andrews is joining us now. So how is gamesmanship, let's say, coming into play here as the world waits on this decision?
Well, Malika, Steve Kerr doesn't want to tip his hand to Micah Malone and the Nuggets, so the Warriors are being very tight-lipped when talking about Steph and whether he's going to come off the bench or start. We tried asking Steph himself, what is the plan? And he said, wait, what was the question you just asked? And then gave us a little wink. But Malika, there's another important question that needs to be answered when discussing Steph and his impending return to the starting lineup. You cannot have 6 guys on the court at once, right? So someone has to move to the bench. The Warriors have also been very quiet on who that will be. But I've talked talked to all 6 players, Clay, Draymond, Jordan, Kevon, Andrew, and Steph, and from what they're telling me, it doesn't seem like moving someone to the bench is going to be an issue for anyone because this team has one very clear goal in mind.
Every season, every situation you find yourself in, you have to just make the right call in terms of what's in the spirit of winning and giving yourself and your team the best shot at winning. And that's everything should line up to that. And we should be able to handle whatever decisions or whatever role you have to kind of assume, based on what the answer to that question is.
Now, whether or not Steph is starting or coming off the bench, we probably won't know until just before the game, but there's one thing that we know for sure. He has been cleared to not be under a minute restriction, so he will be back to playing his full minute load. Malika.
No minutes restriction for Steph Curry. That is good news for the Warriors as they try to close this out. Kendra, thank you so much. I want to bring back in Tim Legler now, because if the Warriors do manage to close it out, that three-headed backcourt, it's going to be matching up with an elite perimeter player, no matter how you slice it next round, right? It's either going to be Ja Morant or it's going to be the Ant-Man. So, Tim, take us through the final 3 possessions of last night's thriller between the Grizz and the Wolves, please.
Yeah, you're going to see a couple of guards being special here late. Some great coaching as well along the way, but athletic ability, I think, took over when it mattered most, Malik. And taking you through this stretch, and what an incredible game this was, incredibly entertaining. And this is another guy that was a hero in the game. He's not going to get a lot of attention, but it's Brandon Clark. And I want you to take a look at him, because he's right here underneath the basket, and he is being boxed. This is great defensive box-out positioning right here. And actually, if you look at Minnesota, you can't ask for more than this. You've got 4 other white jerseys inside of every single blue jersey. There is no reason for the Memphis Grizzlies to get this offensive rebound, but take a look right here. You see Clark's eyes are up. He's following the track of the basketball, and all he's going to do is use those young legs. He goes up, and look where how high he goes. He actually tips this ball. He is above the rim when he hits this, and he doesn't just hit it. He actually throws a direct pass to Ja Morant. This is the biggest possession in the game, in my opinion. He steps into it, give him credit. Had not shot the ball well from the perimeter, knocks down a 3, but then this is just beautiful right here. Take a look at this play design. This is Anthony Edwards right here. He's going to come off, and you're going to see him just run a little token cut up here, looking like he's not really involved in the play. You get a back screen, and he breaks out. This player comes down here. So that's just the initial action, but it gets interesting after it comes in to Karl Anthony Towns, and what happens next. You get a dribble handoff. You're going to get downhill, down the middle of the lane. This is really important because you took out 2 defenders. So now that means Brandon Clark is your backline defender. He has to watch this, and he also means he's got to stay under the rim. Look who else is watching the ball. Ja Morant is also concerned about it. Well, that leaves a perfect opportunity for a back screen flare right here. Bring Anthony Edwards to the corner, and then this is a great delivery of the basketball. Perfect timing, well contested by Clark. That's just a big-time shot by a young player, and that sets up this last play. Now we're tied up, sideline out of bounds. I'll get through this initial action. It's really just a decoy, running some guys through. Here's where it begins, and this is Anthony Edwards. Mistake. You're getting a down screen. You want Ja to come up in here. You're Anthony Edwards right here guarding him. You have 2 options on this. You either go under and you meet him right here. He catches the ball with you in front of him, or if you're going to go over the screen, the angle has to be here, back toward the foul line. So when he catches it, you are in front of him. If Ja Morant makes a jump shot with a hand up, so be it. But that's not what happens. Take a look at the angle Anthony Edwards takes. He comes all the way up here on the high side. Ja goes here. So when the ball comes in, Anthony Edwards is taking himself out of the play. Now, Ja's eyes light up. He sees the rim, nobody in front of him. And guys, take a look at where he takes off. We talked about that dunk, but look at where he finally jumps on this layup. He's out in this area, above the dotted, still gets there with his left hand and finishes the play. So you saw some young guards making big plays late. Ja, obviously, the biggest one of all, because now Memphis has a chance at least to know they've got a Game 7 at home, and they're not facing the prospect of being eliminated on the road.
Well, you mentioned Ja Morant's eyes lit up. Literally, Richard, Perk, and I were all sitting in studio during your breakdown like, oh, yeah, yep, that you nailed that, Legs. Thank you so much for all of that information. The Timberwolves and the Grizzlies, though, they've largely been healthy for this series, so still ahead on NBA.